So, Ramzan Kadyrov is dying, his teenage heir Adam is broken, and the Kremlin sent a military flying hospital plane to Grozny, so the kid and his asshole buddies would be under special medical care in Moscow, where, once again, the older Kadyrov is also about to expire. I also caught the FSB trying to hide the wreckage. They tried to scrub the internet overnight, but they're no match for Gonzo. Missed one app, to be honest. We have the screenshots, the flight logs, and the digital smoking gun that proves the Kadyrov dynasty didn't just crash last night. It pretty much ended. And to be frank, it doesn't really matter that much in what condition young Adam is at this point. Welcome to the eastern border. This is a nice, worthy night of 2026. See, I haven't slept in many hours. My hands are shaking, and it's not just the caffeine. Had to get stuff out of my nose first. It's because I was staring at the map that shouldn't exist for a long time. While you guys were sleeping, while Washington was waiting for its morning briefing, and while the mainstream media was busy reprinting press releases, I think history just changed in the North Caucasus. And not just Chechen history. There's a lot to be said about how this could have impacts for the Russian history in general. We're not talking about rumors tonight. We're not talking about Telegram chatter. We're talking about quite a forensic deconstruction of a possible regime change underway. Here's the headline, which I would run if I was a standard media operation. The Kadyrov dynasty, which has held Chechnya in a medieval stranglehold for 20 years, effectively ended last night on a stretch of west asphalt just outside Grozny. Ramzan Kadyrov, Putin's foot soldier, the TikTok general, is a dead man walking. His chosen heir, his violent 18-year-old son Adam, well, he's screwed since last night. And the Kremlin's executioners seem to be already circling the throne. So, sit down, shut up, and listen, because, oh boy, this might lead to some massive changes in the map of Russia. First of all, let's start with the trigger. I'll play this video later on here. Yesterday, January 16th, 2026, at approximately 5 p.m., 1700 Moscow time, Adam Kadyrov, the boy prince, the kid who beat the prisoner in the cell to earn a medal, was steering through the streets of Grozny. Now, let's be accurate. Adam actually turned 18 back on November 24th. He's been a legal adult for less than 8 weeks. He's the newly appointed secretary of the Security Council, a position his father gave him because, apparently, in Chechnya, you can run the national security apparatus, but before you could legally buy vodka in the United States. Then again, what do you mean legally? It's Chechnya we're talking of. So the Secretary of Security is doing a victory lap. He's in a motorcade moving at extreme speeds, as per usual, my sources stated. And then, well, reality hit him. Hard. As reported first by the Chechen opposition movement NISO, and the very respectable news source Kavkaz Reali, and they're very respectable about Kavkaz. They have been quoted by the Moscow Times, Radio Liberty, everyone. They're very respectable. Chechen opposition site, well, might be a bit wrong, but still. The thing is, they provided evidence. Apparently, the heir lost control of his vehicle near the Akhmat Arc at the eastern entrance of the city. Now, here's the official situation here. Why do we know this? Because these guys also, from the same NISO group and other channels, showed us this video first, which is a dashcam from near this bridge, near this gate, where everything was like locked down. Notice the Ahmad strength gate there. Here's the ambulance. Now, this bridge is actually important. This happened at the same time as we received reports, and I would like to skip forward, about this. This is how this bridge looks like. The Ahmad Sila, not the bridge, but the gate. Okay, again, haven't slept all night. This is what you saw in the video. On the map, again, important, we'll be looking at here. That gate is somewhere there. So, this is the Akhmat Ark. There's another ark further on. This is the hospital where they will take him at first. Then they'll take him to the airport. The red lines is what they have totally, cordoned off. There was no movement here. This was just a straight, locked up line. Everyone was sitting in a massive traffic jam. This was locked out. This big street. So he was taken somewhere from starting here to, later on, and then back to this hospital. Then he was moved to his airplanes. But we'll get to that part. I want to show the second one. This, by the way, is in the other end of Grozny, at the entrance of this other smaller sort of suburb village on the other side of everything. That's where this arc is located. Chechens love their arcs. Let me just zoom in if I could. I'm using my new software to do the zoomies, so I'm trying to... Oh, so that's how it operates. All right. It just clicked there. They have a portrait of Putin, portrait of Ahmad Kadyrov, but this is on the other side of the city. So, this whole thing basically went from one end to the other of this fine city of Grozny, about whom I know way too much when it comes to the transportation at this point. But let's move on. We'll get to this soon. Now the official spin, but they're going to tell you all over the place, which I have read so many times because I have been reading all this all night long, is going to be trying to confuse you. One version says that he's in a grave condition, тяжелое состояние. Another version claims he regained consciousness and his future causes no concern for doctors. We have gotten conflicting reports of that. There's going to be another confusion because apparently he was at first supposed to be flying together with an MMA fighter, but then the MMA fighter wasn't flying with him, so the MMA fighter is alive. However, that's also the only thing ever mentioned by the official press and vehemently denied by Chechens, so as to discredit the whole thing. Like, they found this one thing, which is a side effect, which is a mistake and wasn't true, so now they're just countering that part because they don't have anything else to say about literally anything else. And, about Adam's condition? Really? No concern? Well, if a patient is fine, you put a band-aid on him. You don't shut down a capital city, because this was all throughout Grozny, and then scramble a flying intensive care unit from Moscow to pick him up. Oh, and then another one that flew from Dubai to get his relatives over there to the whole Moscow situation. If we watch the actions and not words, the actions don't really seem to me that everything's fine and he regained consciousness. I mean, these are the flight paths. We'll take a look at them next, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of reports about how Ramzan Kadyrov just was talking to talking to doctors and all that whatnot. Yeah, but in that case, why would they pull out an actual medical plane, a private one, to go through everything? This is sort of stupid. So, this thing is where it's at. We will be looking at these screenshots from FlightRadar. Here we go. I'll try to zoom in even more. Yep. So, 2 screenshots. This is the flight path. This is an approach to Moscow. And this is the original one. We had... I guess I'm going to have to zoom out here. So basically we have this airplane which at one point managed to fly from Dubai with registrations and everything absolutely not available. This used to be normal, but then this part switched on and everything got lost. I managed to grab these, and some other people on Telegram also managed to grab these while they weren't switched off completely. because there are two planes. One plane is flying from Dubai. The other plane is flying from Grozny to Moscow. They were all properly trackable, and both planes are related to people associated with Ramzan Kadyrov. That's literally reported by literally everyone. And here you have FlightRadar numbers. You can check them out yourself. So, the prince, apparently, most likely I would say, because if there would be nothing wrong with him, why would you fly in massive amounts of planes over there? He's bleeding out in the Republican Clinical Hospital in Grozny. Local doctors stabilized him, but they're terrified. And then they made a call. He has to go to Moscow. And this is where the story actually leaves ground. We have a time scale here. At 22:40, the local time, the radar over Grozny lit up. A bird lifted off. Call sign SUM 9108. Tail number RA 61717. And all this stuff, mind you, this plane, right here, this one. If you've noticed that this ain't just your standard business jet. This is an Antonov An-148, belonging to, no less, Ministry of Emergency Situations. Yes. It's a flying intensive care unit equipped with specialized medical modules. You don't send this plane for a broken arm. You send it for a patient on the edge of death. I mean, if it would be like nothing special, then at the very least he could have just taken, I don't know, one of his dad's or family's or whatever private jets. Not the very, very specific, this mega plane, which is literally a flying hospital. And then these guys airlifted everyone straight to Vnukovo Airport in Moscow. Last news is that they landed. And then other planes arrived. And here's another twist regarding the father. Weirdly enough. Then, the other jet, besides the Airbus, the other Airbus, Airbus ACJ 3190 or tail number RA 73417. See, that's Ramzan Kadyrov's personal jet. Turns out either him or his relatives, well, were not even in Chechnya when little Adam managed to smash. Jet scrambled from the UAE, rushing north to Moscow. Glorious. Son is flown in from Grozny to a hospital in Moscow, but the family relatives have to rush from their luxury homes in Dubai. All of them were converging on Moscow instantly. Interestingly enough, yes, this plane also landed in Moscow at about 3 a.m. in the morning, but at 5:47 local time, just 47 minutes after the crash, it was still in Dubai. This is the plane about which the rumors were that this is where the MMA fighter had been flown in, but he wasn't there. We don't know the passenger. But, yeah, this jet is very closely related to Kadyrov. So we have a hospital and a private jet. So, the king's in Moscow. The prince is in Moscow. The cockpit of the Caucasus is empty. And, well, like I said, it doesn't really matter what the condition is with a little kid, because he's definitely in hospital now. But nature abhors a vacuum. See, to understand why this car crash is a geopolitical earthquake, and not just a tabloid story, you have to look at the father first. And I will now try to clear this mess. Here we go. Nice little daddy and son. You have to look at the Ramzan Kadyrov. And I don't mean the Instagram version. I don't mean the guy who posts videos doing push-ups that look like seizures. I mean the biological entity. See, this guy is rotting from the inside out. And although we've spoken about this for months, there have been rumors and all this mess, but finally we have solid reports about this situation. Absolutely solid. One of the best analysts I know, Michael Maki, called it, Ukrainian intelligence called it, and at this point, the evidence is overwhelming. He really does have pancreatic necrosis. Now, when it started, we don't know, but apparently it's in 2019. So, that part doesn't matter, but the fact that he definitely is in mega intensive care, well, by this point, I can guarantee you that. It got worse in 2023, definitely, and by December 2025, the man is in acute kidney failure. See, he was supposed to be on Vladimir Putin's mandatory state council meeting on December 25th. You don't ghost Putin unless you are physically unable to stand up. Ramzan was in Moscow being quote-unquote barely resuscitated by the best doctors money could buy. He's currently dialysis dependent. He's a dead man walking. So, obviously, old man Ramzan here, Mr. Don, knew the clock was ticking. He could feel it in his blood. So he panicked. He tried to speedrun the dynasty, like in Crusader Kings. So he took two of his sons, and I'm pretty sure he has many more, and showed them into power before they could even grow beards. Ahmad, who's 20 now, became, check this out, the first deputy prime minister of Chechnya. And Adam, little psycho shithead who beats up people and just has more medals than anything else, her crash pilot. Yeah, Ramzan made him the Secretary of Security Council of Chechnya in November. Let that sink in. The head of national security for the most volatile region in Russia is a kid who has been legal adult for 7 weeks. Ramzan was betting everything on a fast transition. He wanted to force the Kremlin to accept his bloodline while he was still alive to bully them into it. But last night, I feel like this bet has hit a wall. Biology is the ultimate opposition leader. You can torture dissidents, you can bribe generals, but you cannot bribe a failing pancreas, and you cannot intimidate physics when a 2-ton armored Mercedes, well, gets hit at 150 kilometers per hour. So, the physical world is a mess. Metal is twisted, bodies are broken, but the digital world, oh yeah, damage control. See, I was reading all this Telegram stuff, but then I decided I have to dig in. I have to find out more because, well, no one else was doing the things that I thought was just standard that you should do as a journalist. And while the ambulance was still fighting traffic, and while we got all the reports about who flew where with what airplane, and all the mystery rumors, I decided to pull out and open up and get a trial, which I've quit now, to Strava heatmaps. For those who don't know, Strava is the app that your fitness-obsessed friend uses to track their morning jog. But soldiers use it too, and bodyguards. And if you know where to look, this mess lights up like a tracer around in the dark. Now, let's talk about what you see in these pictures here. I'm pretty sure they'll be scrubbed pretty soon as well. Ramzan Kadyrov might do this, but managed to grab this while this is necessary. See, look at the center of Grozny. This is the center of Grozny, and this is the opposite side. This is where the road goes, the hospital. See, this whole black void here, around the government square, all this mess, around the government quarters, that's the forbidden zone. No civilians allowed. But next to the river, let me just zoom this in. Like I said, I've been working instead of actively trying to figure out how to fix the zoom method. Here we go. See, this is the Suza River. These are the governmental... I can't zoom this way, stupid. These are the governmental offices. Big park here. These two things, well, you will see them just in a moment. Basically, all this mess. This is Ramzan Kadyrov's armored palace next to Suza River. This is the official governmental thing. This is his armored palace, and I bet this is where the guards live. It's glowing here because, well, hundreds of elite Ahmad troops have been pacing that perimeter every single day for the last year. And, again, comrades, look at the other thing. This is our second option, which we also checked. You see this? It looks like a stadium. But let me tell you, if this is not a stadium, this is a mosque, a temple. There are barracks. And this thing, which looks like someone's been running around, that's a second glowing oval, a military reserve base. Why does this matter? Well, because this is where the governmental district is at. Yeah, you don't see anything here. Kadyrov's palace, possibly barracks. Down here, staging grounds. Because all this is from Strava. I had to double check everything in other sources too. So, the crash happened, mind you, on very near the road that leads to that base that you take to get there. Although, you know, all this mess isn't maybe that clear cut. However, where did my stuff go? I'm stupid. I have been working all night long, and I do not want the desktop background. I want my things back. Well, nice. Now you know that I played this Coliseum. Let me just open this one more time, please. Here we go. I'll probably have to make this later. Basically about this map. As you can see here. I hate when I can't scroll. So. Park. Kadyrov Street. Barracks. This takes you out of town. Basically, this is the road. Amazing. See, Prince crashed directly on the lifeline of the regime, because this Argon, where he was going, according to our previous data, yeah, that's another little suburban village, which basically consists of only Ramzan Kadyrov supporters and is massively militarized. Like, massively militarized. It's like going from, you know, the Navy, the Marine squad to the Navy, all this mess. It's the central road where he just drove through at massive speeds. And there was military nearby because, oh boy, let me tell you, no one really these days is doing a lot of sportsmanship except if you're Habib and then you're sitting inside one building instead of doing anything else. But you see, I wanted to check out more, and sadly, satellites haven't really flown over Grozny lately to the level that I would find acceptable. But then I decided to give another check. See, the comedy happened at 4 a.m. in the morning. The FSB tried to scrub the internet. They tried to hit the delete button because this is already pretty damning, but you know, it's just the random street, it's just random things over there on the map. Might look a bit suspicious. I'm including this because I opened a site called 2GIS. Russian Google Maps analog, basically. Here's the name. And this was beautiful. Grozny was green. Zero traffic. Zero accidents. A digital paradise. Stalin would have been proud. But there's a bit of a pickle. See, I decided not to stop on the Russian apps, and then I opened the Waze, and as you can see here in 2GIS, I have asked for the shortest route from Grozny to Argon. That is the big road here that leads to the center of Grozny, where all the other information is. That's the big road that was closed off. This road is important, and this road is also important. But you see, I opened Waze, app owned by Google, which, you know, probably I doubt anyone uses in Russia because that's really more of a European thing, not very popular in Russia. See, this is the app that relies on passive GPS signals from regular drivers who are just trying to get home and doesn't really have much connection to this thing, which I can't really search. And now let us compare with Waze. This is a retake of the screenshot, because the older one was basically like this: no traffic incidents, everything deleted. This was taken at, well, this is my rig time. I think this was at 8:30 a.m. Latvia time in the morning, because I waited because they update all this stuff. They update daily maps on Waze for the new fixes every morning at 8, so I had to wait about the situation. And now, Now that we have a difference, because these are both at the same time, and both are supposedly super accurate. Let's look at the difference first. Let's open them both in parallel. The right side is Russian app. I'll just probably open up this one. This says, I'm just picking from the default. They both use the same Google Maps, so the distance is the same. Like literally, I clicked on the name and clicked on the name center from both places, just so that the whole route where Ramzan Kadyrov's driving would be covered. This now says, with the route that we're taking, they have another route which goes all the way up on top of this, but it doesn't matter. This standard route, which is the closest, that takes Ramzan Kadyrov's route, taking into account any possible traffic jams, will take you 16 minutes to drive 15 kilometers. Yeah, just straight up 15. It's a 15-minute drive. Now the problem here is that this is what Waze tries to tell us. It's now adding up slightly more minutes. This is 25-minute drive, and they are both supposedly very accurate. But what's the really big and important thing in this whole situation? Why am I so proud about this? And I do not enjoy this mess that much. Can I please zoom in? I would like to zoom in. Oh yeah, that's not that bad. See, this is the same street. And now how do I stop? I just want to move you around and not... Oh, here we go. As you can see, this is the river. I will zoom in. I told you, the river is important. This is Argun. That's the river. But what is this? What magical thing is this? See, comrades, that is the Ramzan Kadyrov street, the big one. This, by the way, is where the hospital was. That's how the route goes. We're ignoring other routes. The airport afterwards where he was taken is up there, but this is the block down street. And currently at 8 in the morning, which is updated so that we have the accurate information in Waze, local drivers, when they drive this massively central route from Argun to Grozny, well, this is a piece of totally innocent, utterly, nothing wrong with this piece of highway. And let me just quickly remind you how it's like in the other application. This is how it looks when we look at it from that map. This is the river, as you can see. This is the river. I turned on the traffic accidents and traffic jams too on the 2GIS app. Didn't help much because everything is as green as humanly possible, which never exists in real time. As you can see, this road, this river, same time, 8:30 in the morning. There is a slight traffic jam over here, but smooth sailing onwards. Up to this road. This road here, yeah, this Ahmad Kadyrov street. Totally okay, everything is fine, everything's smooth and dandy. Except that Waze, whom I trust much more, because the FSB really can't touch it, shows us the other picture. Yet again, actually important. This is the same river you saw in last time. This is the road up there. And this is the nice little Ahmad Kadyrov street, which goes out here. And the shortest route that Waze uses is this one. Because, it doesn't matter that on this highway there is nothing here blocking the traffic whatsoever. Oh, except it's very near the other gate. The first gate is round about here. The ones that we saw, the Ramzan Kadyrov gates. And the other ones are past that. So this is on route. And currently, as of today, everyone driving around in Chechnya from Grozny to over there have to just take this massive route over a tiny little street which doesn't show up, anywhere else. The official map tells you, drive through. Very cool, nice. Also, only one line. This is specifically for the route from... let me unzoom this one. from Grozny to Argon. On the other route, when you're driving the opposite side, it actually takes that thing. So one side of this is totally blocked off with proper crashes. Now, what could be the reason why Waze, out of all the apps, why both Waze, which just takes in driver data, or just too afraid to click anything, and our good old G2S, which is absolutely Russian driving analog, if everything is smooth and green, then why the two differences? And like the hardest thing that's reported on this one is this little tiny jam, which is here, by the way, on this map, just to compare. And again, this street is this here thing. So everyone this morning is actually driving like this. Let me remind you, everything is super green. There is no traffic jams reported here. Neither are here, because they also rely on local data. But the orange just takes around this route. I mean, for a random reason, they would just turn off the cars at 8 a.m. in the morning, which proves that this happened yesterday, because that's Waze's map. Yeah, seems to me like a pretty decent evidence of a cover-up, because, again, all of this is green, and I waited up until about 2 hours after, some yellow spots started plopping up, but yeah, everything was clean. No reviews, no nothing, no reports. If you've driven with Waze, you know that, everyone just reports, oh, there's a traffic jam there, camera there, nothing, everything deleted. Slammed out, just like data in this here governmental district over there. Yeah. Amazing. See, this jagged red line proves that Waze is frantically trying to route drivers off the highway and into the mud just to avoid the kill zone of the arch. This is also the only route that they offer. Basically, the routes that they recommend you taking all involve going through there. You can't not go there. So the FSB decided that, let's hide everything, as they do in Chechnya. It's very hard to get stuff out of Chechnya, after all. Wiped 2 GIS servers, yelled at people, made sure no one makes a fuss. That video is out there. This is why you also won't see much videos of the actual crash, because probably filming that straight up would be a death sentence of whomever is now in charge there and what their plans are. But they can't delete GPS signals of 500 terrified Chechen drivers stuck in a blockade trying to drive around this. Map doesn't lie. The algorithm here doesn't care about your propaganda. The blockade was real, and the cover-up failed in real time because, well, again, thankfully Waze is not very well known in Russia. Because this shit they cleansed, and I couldn't get access to Yandex Maps because VPN wasn't working. But one of these maps is lying, and I trust the one which, can't be accessed by Russian censorship. So, what does this all actually mean? Maps read, flight logs are filed, digital ghost of the blockade is archived over here in our servers. Now comes the question that I would be starting to worry about in Chechnya and Grozny, everywhere basically. Also by Putin. Who rules the mountains now? Because you see, the Adam plan seems to be pretty dead to me. Ramzan wanted a dynasty. He wanted his bloodline to rule Chechnya for 100 years. He even made a massive wedding ceremony for Adam Kadyrov where he shot with his golden gun in the sky and everything. Amazing. But that doesn't seem to be working. Now, if this is a cover-up for something else, then that something else is far worse than Adam Kadyrov just smashing his car and probably being in rough condition. Because you don't do this sort of stuff for no reason. Not even if you're Ramzan Kadyrov, especially since his positions have been weakening lately. But what are the wolves that could be looking at this whole situation, being hungry? Well, I am watching 3 men, personally. Vulture number 1 here is Magomed Daudov, call sign Lord, Speaker of the Parliament, the Regent. He's currently holding the fort in Grozny while the Kadyrovs are in Moscow. He's brutal, effective, and loyal, but loyalty tends to have an expiration date when the boss is in a coma. And a side note, he is the one who has been arranging diplomatically all the prisoner exchanges between Ukrainians and Chechens, because of course they have their own exchange fund. So, he definitely knows some people to talk to the other side. Then we have our other friend number 2, which is my favorite here, Apyelodinov. I've mentioned him before because, he's getting the blame about being a coward, but he's not. And if you're even slightly intelligent, then you can't not hate Ramzan Kadyrov because of what an idiot he is. And he's protecting his troops for something. He, although wears suits on Russian state TV and is speaking perfect Russian, he's charming the Moscow elites. He's trying to be the civilized face of Chechnya. Kremlin likes him. But he might not like Kremlin. So, all this just increases the mess. And then we have vulture number 3. The Russian general, the man Ramzan Kadyrov, humiliated publicly during the Ukraine war. General Lapin. He called him incompetent. He tried to destroy him. Well, Lapin, by the way, is back in favor in Moscow. Revenge is a dish best served when your enemy is hooked up to a dialysis machine. And when I say he's back, is that literally the same day as Mr. Adam here crashes his car, we get an announcement that this general here is going to run for Gosduma this year. And, from the United Russia Party, of course, from the big corrupt party. But from which region? Dagestan. Do you know where Dagestan is? Right next to Chechnya. They all used to be the same Ingushetia, I think. So this guy also has some sort of Caucasus connections and ambitions. So, Kadyrov era is definitely damaged. 2 decades of medieval brutality. And whatever Ahmed is doing, by the way, nobody knows. He also could be behind this, but can't claim that one yet. All this mess, well, if it didn't end tonight, then it definitely is on a path of ending tonight, because, again, it seems to me that yes, Adam crashed, and if he didn't, then holy shit, something even worse happened out there. At least something that spells doom for Chechnya being a part of Russia anyways. But, my money is on the fact that he's actually in a hospital. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes from there. But funny how all this mess by the family who's actively tried to kill me personally, how this mess is ending not with a glorious battle, but it ends with a stupid, avoidable car crash on a wet Friday night. Father's dying, son's broken, throne is empty. And people of Chechnya? Oh, they're waiting. Because they know when the titans fall, the ground will shake for everyone. And I was recently asked on Discord, well, will someone try to kill Adam Kadyrov when Ramzan Kadyrov finally dies? And my response is, not just Adam Kadyrov. Everyone of Ramzan's family is fair game. They'll be hanging from the lampposts. It's going to be just like when they caught Saddam Hussein and Gaddafi. Everyone, it's going to be massive brutality because everyone in Chechnya actively hates them. For religious reasons too, by the way, which I understood. Because again, Russia is unorthodox Stalinism, which is totally counterintuitive to Chechens. Because let me remind you, these guys, just like we in Latvia, they also were massively deported and were turbo oppressed by Stalin. Also, the same purges, everything. Oh, and they fought 2 independence wars. The empire didn't let them go. There is no love for Kadyrov. Literally everyone, like anyone else besides Putin, would put him into prison no matter his allegiance. So, all this stuff just makes it interesting. But for today, here are the facts. Because if someone is trying to tell you that we don't have any straight up videos, well, we have that. We have maps. Because all this looks pretty suspicious. For one, I haven't seen, if this would be some sort of rerouted route or something else, how Google Maps tends to do sometimes. Because Google Maps also has a tendency to give slightly different coordinates. But when this route here is perfectly straight, and I'm drawing here, this is this. You don't see any jams going on here, and everything is green and perfectly fine. Only slight, inconvenience here. Nothing of the stuff that's also drawn in Waze. It's literally made in the same time. None of it. Slow updates coming in. I mean, this is what the government wants everyone in Russia to know. This is what's actually happening because, again, Western cars and their passive GPS. I consider this to be strong evidence of that something happened, and again, airplane data together with this stuff, and this, by the way, isn't on Telegram yet. This is the first where I checked, because might as well, it could be fixed by this point, but it's saved here. Show it as an argument. I hope that someone else will also try to check this eventually, which is why I'm trying to make this as vital as possible, because that's an important piece of information here. But meanwhile, I'll probably go and finish my beer and try to get some sleep. But about the situation, oh boy, I've always said that the big mess in Russia will start with Chechnya. So I'll keep watching the maps, tracking the flights. God knows, standard mainstream media won't do it in the West until the shooting starts. But for now, this has been a special report.
I have a nice meme for you for this occasion. It's in your Gmail.
Honey, come here and say hi. Then you have to say hi. You can't just sit there. Evit is sitting next to me and encouraging me to do this. Meme on Gmail? Okay, we'll check the meme on Gmail.
Yes, I want you to show it to your listeners.
Oh, also, thank you, Paul Jones. I opened my Gmail and saw that I'm a new patron. Oh yeah, this is great. This is not the only one. Vatniks are also happy about this. So, there we go. But like I said, this might not be as much, but it seems to me, with all the data that I have, that yeah, things aren't going as pretty as they could be for the Kadyrov family. I truly think they are starting to lose everything. But, before I go, a reminder. I do this work, harsh work, and brutal one, yeah, figuring out things in actual journalism, because, independent over here, in Pilda. We don't have oligarch funding, we have you. And if you want to help, first of all, not even me, but the guys in the front lines who are actually fighting the evil that we talk about here and all these weird machinations, go to carforukraine.com, links in the description. We're currently continuing to run Christmas Tree Truck 2025 campaign. We're about halfway there, and we're sending pickup trucks to the 24th Brigade. Trucks save lives. Go to the link in the show notes. Don't buy a latte. Buy a piece of truck that, kills fascists. But if you want to help us keep us in the air, and keep me, well aware and awake and, able to function, join our Patreon. Patreon.com/the Eastern Border. You get the episodes early, get the ad-free versions. Well, some episodes early. There's extra episodes too. And you get my eternal gratitude. Evita reads you a fairy tale now and then. Also, if you want to wear your support, check out the merch. We have designs that will get you stopped at customs at theeasternborder/shop.forthful.com. Also, there's another monthly membership thing, and there's a Club of Angry Patriots merch. Which, by the way, because I stole that trademark from Igor Girkin and his buddies, and all the profits from that go straight to Ukraine. And, of course, you can go to theeasternborder.lv and, click that donate button for a one-time donation. Maybe join Substack or something. We have a lot of projects that I've been doing lately. But for now, I'll stop rambling because this was an insane amount of work. My brain is fried. And I bet there's going to be a bit of a recap, proper one, in the next longer episode. But I had to put this out there before anyone else does because, because that's what good journalists do. Happiness is mandatory.